This is Darcy from Bravos Technology, and welcome to a day in the life of a production manager at a manufacturing site who's using SafetyCulture and Bravos. So in this video, we'll do a day in the life of a production manager and a line manager at a manufacturing company. We'll pretend that this manufacturer makes potato chips and a few other FMCG type products. Remember, if you're not currently using SafetyCulture and you want to give it a go, I'll put my code in the description of the video, or you can of course reach out to us at Bravos and we can run you through the way that we can set up something like this at your site. Before we get into it, I just want to run through the way that SafetyCulture is used at manufacturing sites and the way that you can really think about how SafetyCulture plugs in with the rest of your systems. In summary, SafetyCulture really is the connection layer between your frontline team and all of your back-end systems. It's a really easy way to capture rich data like photos and videos and data from connected like IoT devices. And if we can get it set up correctly, SafetyCulture should really just be the eyes and ears on the front line, and our frontline team should never really have to input information into other systems. We just get them to do it through SafetyCulture, and then we integrate in with the other systems in the back end. As the way SafetyCulture impacts our production management, I think this is the best way to think about it. So if we separate out our management decisions into three key areas of know your business, improve your business, and control your business. So know your business is all of your dashboards, all of your stats, things like balanced scorecards, all of your wastage and OEE stats. This is all about having the information to understand how you're performing. Then improve your business. This is all about the new ideas or process changes that we're going to introduce to increase or improve the stats in that know your business. So say our wastage is becoming really high, or say we're trying to increase the speed at which we can start up in the mornings. We would introduce or come up with new processes or new ideas to basically impact one of those key KPIs in our production. But the question is, how do we actually introduce those new processes? How do we actually control that those new behaviors are being executed out in the field? And that's where SafetyCulture really comes into its own. It's a layer to control behaviors and to ensure that our standard behaviors that we need to happen every day, things like an hourly check, a startup and shutdown checklist, center line checks, it's a way that we can really quickly understand, are our leaders and are our operators introducing these new process changes? Are they following them? And are we controlling the way that our business operates? Without the understanding of, yes, all of my guys are doing the tasks as we need them to, then we've got no way of being confident that these improvement ideas are actually going to work. So I'm one of the production managers at Bravos Manufacturing. It's 5:30 in the morning. I've just put into site. So I'm going to look at the shutdown report from last night as step one. So if I go to my SafetyCulture app and I look for my shutdown checklist, I can see the report that the person in the previous shift has done for me. I can see here that there was one flagged item and an action created off the back of it. So I can see that there was an issue on the manufacturing line. The safety guard cover was loose. May fall off if under pressure. I've raised a work order via the maintenance team. Great. So I can see here that someone has gone through and actually raised that work order as an action. I'll just double check that, and I can see here that yeah, indeed, here's the action. Oh, here's the work order rather that my line manager the day before has raised. So that's great. So that's been done for me. But I'm across now that that's maybe an issue for the day, and I might need to just flag that with my team. So then I'm going to do my standard morning pre-operations checklist. This is where we look at things like machine readiness, our raw materials, any safety concerns that I might identify. So I'm going to come to my SafetyCulture app here. I'm going to start my pre-op check. You can see here that date and time, location, and me is all done there for me. I'll just go through and mark things off. So I'll confirm that all the machines are off or in standby mode. Yes, they are. I'll check that the safety guards and emergency stop buttons are in place. Yep, I know about that safety guard issue, so I'll say that's all okay. So I'll just run this down. So this is just the standard checks that you might do once every morning. I'll take a photo of the storeroom here, which is going to be pretty empty in this example, but I'll say this is the storeroom that we're reviewing. I'll say that we've got 4 pallets of packaging remaining. I'll do a general inspection, but the idea is that I'm going through and doing my standard checklist every morning, and I can identify any issues. I'll say that we'll check the weather radar. There's actually rain expected today. So you can see that the template's going to give me an instruction to ensure that I brief staff on the high risk of slips, trips, and falls today. So I'll make sure I include that as part of my morning briefing. Great, so then I know the issue from last night. I know about that safety guard cover issue. I've also identified that there's rain coming today, and so I'm going to mention that to the team. I'm going to do my 10-minute pre-operations briefing once all the operators arrive at 6 a.m. It's just to pass on the messages that I've received from the day before. Yeah, so we've done our pre-shift meeting, and I now know that the guys have to go pick up a device and complete a take 5 check and a centerline pre-start check of their area. So I'm just going to come to my dashboard and I can see all of the checks that have basically happened. Great. So my 5 leaders that I know I've got working on each line, they've at least done 1 take 5. I can look at the individual take 5s. This is basically an interactive dashboard. So I can see basically what they've done. And then as well, I can see that for the centerline checks, we've got 4 lines running today, and at least all of them have had some sort of check, so like a pre-start check done on it. So I can go through again, look at the individual reports, see what's being identified. Everyone has confirmed our startup procedures as we need, so that's great. So I can be confident that that standard task that I need everyone to do on the lines has been done. And so the process for actually doing those centerline checks and doing those pre-starts, so we can initiate through through the QR code. It's going to pull up the asset profile for the asset that I need to do. I can then hit start inspection here, and I'm going to do my pre-start and centerline check. So that actually links then everything I put in here to that individual asset. I can then update here runtime expected. This can then link into a broader maintenance plan that we can do through SafetyCulture. So I'll initiate this, then I'll go through and complete the actual check of what I'm doing. And I'll basically complete the centerline check. Yeah, so if I come through to the actual checkware asset profile and click through to runtime, I can then see the way that SafetyCulture is going to track the usage of this particular asset, either by month or by week or a certain time frame that I set. So I can see the way that we're using it across the week. I can also do this a bit more granularly to the hour level, or basically just track over time how we're using this device. So it's great to track this runtime, as it can help us with the way that we plan out our maintenance schedules for these assets. So I can see here for my checkware, I've got a maintenance plan set up in SafetyCulture that says, all right, every 5,000 hours, we're going to be performing a service or a check on this asset. So I can see that the last check was done at hour 150. We've only run it to 232 hours. And so we've got another service at basically 5,000 hours. But I can set up and define how frequently I basically want to perform a check on my assets through the maintenance planning system. I'll do another video of this in more detail, but we can basically define when we want to schedule out maintenance. Either it's based on runtime or odometer. I might define that it's every 500 hours we need to trigger a maintenance check, and I want to send a notification to a certain group or a certain set of users so that they're alerted when we've hit that threshold to basically check one of our assets, or maybe organize for an external servicing company to come in and check our assets. So this maintenance planning system, coupled with the information that we'll capture in our pre-start checks, and then also maybe our corrective actions and issues that we capture on the shop floor, means that we can really manage all of our assets, so all of our different equipment and manufacturing lines, all within SafetyCulture. Yeah, great. So now that we've got our lines up and running, I can come through and do some of my standard daily tasks that I need to do. So I'm going to do this 5S and GMP housekeeping audit. So I'll start this inspection. So as we know with SafetyCulture, we can build in this check to exactly how we need, or we can take it from the public library. But I'll just say that we've had a failure here, that we haven't removed product samples, and I'll just take a photo to highlight what this issue is. So let's just say that was the problem here. I can annotate on these photos and say, this is where the problem lies. So we can quickly identify problems and then assign corrective actions to different team members to resolve. So I'll say we need to remove cabling on the floor. So see photos because it's going to be attached. I'll assign that to Darcy. I'll say this is a medium priority task and assign that action. I'll continue on with my GMP audit. You can get a feeling here of the type of things that we can build in. Okay, so now we've been running production for a few hours. Maybe it's 10 a.m. And I'm just going to see that my guys are all doing that hourly check. So the example of the hourly check that we might get the guys to do, I'll select the manufacturing line I'm on. So I'll say I'm on the packaging line. I'll say, am I spoken to staff? I'll say there are no issues to report. It's all running okay. There's no improvement ideas to report. We'll say the check weights are trending okay. And everything all okay. So I'll mark that as complete. Yeah, so that's an operator doing an individual line check. As the production manager though, I just want to make sure that all these line checks are being done and then act on anything that's being identified. So I've got a dashboard set up here that shows me my hourly line checks. So I've got 4 lines running today, and so I'd expect at least 4 checks to be done. So we've got 5 on that packaging line because we just did one, but we've got 4 checks that are happening on each line. So that's great. So my hourly checks are happening. This flagged rate though, this is showing me that check weigher 123 has had 75% of the checks have actually had a flagged issue, and come to this table as well. And I can see that it's an issue with the weights. We've got here 3 times where we basically failed the readings, and I'm suspecting it's going to be all trending heavy. I can see here trending heavy, trending heavy. So basically as part of the hourly check, one of my guys when doing it has identified that the weights have been trending heavy. I can see from this report that it's a theme. It's happened now 3 times, so once every hour. So I now need to go to that line. I need to make an adjustment. We need to adjust the settings. This is a way that I can zoom out and see how we're performing in my production, and then make a really smart decision because of the information we get from SafetyCulture. Okay, so it's midday, but I've had Lenny report a production issue to me. So I can see that production has stopped actually. So this is a big issue. So I'm going to come through and I can see that Lenny's raised an issue. He says production has stopped. He's added in a photo of the issue. So it looks like it's with the check weigher. He's saying that the check weigher belt isn't working. So I'm going to go over to the area, see if I can support, but it's great that Lenny has basically raised that through the SafetyCulture issue. I might be on another part of the site. Maybe it's the maintenance guys are also on another part of the site. So the fact that he's raised that in SafetyCulture, that's sent an alert out to me, the leader. It's also sent out an alert to maintenance. So by the time I get to the check weigher, myself and the maintenance team are already there on site to try and fix up the issue. So as I get to site, I'm going to pull up the asset QR code. So this is the QR code for the check weigher that we've got on the device. So it's going to pull me through to the check weigher profile. I can see that there's a troubleshooting guide that's actually saved against this asset. So I'm going to pull this up and review it. And I'll go through and see if the troubleshooting guide has anything to advise me and the maintenance guy about what to do. Yeah, so the maintenance guy's never actually done this sort of work before, but we've got a 1-point lesson check set up for how to maintain the check weigher. So he can scan that QR code, and this is going to show how to update the check weigher belt. So he can review this course that we've got set up, ensure that he's got all the safety precautions. We can give a bit of a standard operating procedure for what he needs to do, and then he's going to be instructed on how to remove the belt, how to update it. So I'm going to let the maintenance guy get on with that, but I note that we actually need to replace this part. So I'm going to come to our issues dashboard where this production issue is being raised, and I'm actually going to create an action. I'm going to create a work order. We need to order spare parts for the check weigher. Say we need a new belt. Maybe we've used our spare part as part of this repair. This is a high priority item. I'm going to assign this to, let's just say Lenny, or perhaps it's going to be the management group or a maintenance group. I'm going to assign this to the check weigher asset so that we know exactly where it's linked to. I'll say this is a maintenance task. but I'm going to create that work order. We've actually set up an integration in with our SAP. So that's going to initiate the work order straight away to maybe call out the technician or to order new parts. So you can set up those integrations well with SafetyCulture. But in this example, I've raised a work order to basically get someone to order a new part, or maybe it's to get an external technician to come in and have a look at this device. So great, hopefully our maintenance team then is going to resolve the check weigher issue, and we'll get that back up and running very soon. I'm going to continue on with my daily tasks that I need to do. I've got a mid-shift gimbal walk check that I need to start. So I'm going to initiate this check. I'm going to walk around and speak to my operators and basically see if they have any improvement ideas. So I hit that improvement idea. I've actually spoke to an operator who said that the packaging that they're getting from the warehouse team is actually damaged. Yeah, so as it's a big issue, what I'm going to do is send out a heads up message, so a one-to-many message to the warehouse team just to alert them of this packaging issue, because it is causing some issues in production. So if I go to the heads up feature, I can actually send out a video message to that packaging team. So I'm going to hit add media here. I'll hit take a video. Yeah, hey warehouse guys, just been speaking to the production guys on the frying line. The packaging they're getting from you guys is damaged. I think it's been damaged when you've received it from the delivery. So it's just a reminder to do a check properly before you drop off that packaging to the guys. It's causing them a lot of issues during production. If there are issues, raise it during your check and we can bring it up with the delivery guys and the suppliers. But we can't be delivering at the moment these damaged boxes because it's slowing us down too much. Thanks guys. I'll assign this to our warehouse team who handles this area, and I'll say that they can comment and they need to acknowledge basically that they've received the message. Great, so I'll publish that and that'll be pushed out to them. So we've also had another improvement idea from someone that they haven't had manual handling training. And what I can actually do, so I've captured that improvement idea, but what I might want to do through SafetyCulture then is assign out that training to the team. So if I come to my training tab, I can actually just come through and find a manual handling course in the public library that I can search here, or I can create that course myself. I've got a manual handling course here, so I'll just check that this looks all good, but this actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to assign this then as mandatory, and I'll assign it to maybe a certain group or a certain cohort of people. So I've assigned that out to everyone, so it means that it sends them a notification to their phone. They can see that they've got this manual training course that they need to do, and so they can initiate that course. This is something they need to do over the next 30 days. That all just came off the back of that improvement idea from that gimbal walk we did, but then they can go through the course on their phones and basically complete what's been assigned of them. Once they start to complete these courses, I can come through to my training matrix. I can identify who's completed what course. I can also track course completion, so I can see here who's done what course, where do we need to follow up on, and who's actually been graded and completed all their training. Okay, so it's approaching the end of my shift. So the final thing I need to do is do a shift changeover checklist in SafetyCulture. We might want to do this on individual lines, just so that the next manager that comes to manage that line has the information. So I'll pull up this check weigher line and say we're doing a changeover in this check weigher because there's been some issues today. So I'll put in the line speed that we're expecting. I will say that the weights were actually trending heavy today. So I'm putting in some notes for the next person, just as like I had this morning. So this is for the next shift leader so that they know, okay, it was trending heavy this morning, but it's okay now. I'll say that, yes, we had a machine breakdown or equipment failure. So again, capturing for the next person, we did have some downtime, but it's been resolved. Housekeeping, I'll say, is good. I'll add some photos just to show that it's been pretty good. Here it is that we've all fixed it up. And then I'll do that as a handover. I'm going to assign this to the next production leader, so I know that Manny is coming and he's going to start basically the next shift. So if I'm going to request approval from Manny, that's basically going to send Manny the handover checklist. When he comes into site, he can confirm everything that I've reported, hit approve, and it sort of sets up a workflow for him to come in and start his day. So really what connects everything that we've just run through is this plan versus actual dashboard that we can set up in SafetyCulture. So this is using a sensor that you can buy from the SafetyCulture team or from me, and it will basically track your actuals coming out of your PLC versus a plan that you've set. So I've set for today that we're trying to get to 35,000 potato chips. I have done the shift start for 5:30 and I've done the shift end for 2 p.m. So this dotted line will then show me my plan, and then the actual, this is coming straight out of the PLC, straight out of a count sensor that is basically counting products that are going through. But the whole reason why we're getting our team to do their hourly checks, for all of our line leaders to do their startup procedures and their shutdown procedures, is really to get this actual line as close to our plan as possible, by ensuring that our team are quickly responding to issues, that are doing everything that we need them to do each day and each hour. We should be able to create a more consistent production, should be able to reduce short stops. And so this plan versus actual dashboard is really the whole reason why we implement SafetyCulture. So there you have it. So that's a full day in the life of a production manager or a line manager using SafetyCulture at their manufacturing site. As you've seen, it's really all about introducing processes that we get everyone to follow, and then giving them a really easy way to capture that data. And then once we get really rich data, we can respond to it quickly. But as mentioned at the start, SafetyCulture is all about controlling processes, controlling behaviors, getting our guys to do the standard tasks every single day, every single hour, so that we can have a consistent production. And as we said at the end, get that actuals number to match that plan number more often than not. Reach out to us here at Bravas if you want to set this up at your site. I'll put all the information in the description. Or as mentioned, you can sign up to SafetyCulture yourself and use our code for a 5% discount of the tool. Otherwise, wishing you all the best for your production in the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon.